Do not adjust your sets. Welcome to Radio Shipwrecked. My name's Jordan. You'll have heard me before doing the shows with Carl and Matt previously, but Matt's very kindly let me go solo on this one. I'm going to be doing a show today about Sarah Records. So you may or may not have heard of Sarah Records. They ran from Bristol from 1988 or 1987 till 1995 when it came to an end. So it was formed by Claire Wadd and Matt Haynes, who met in Bristol. They knew each other kind of from doing fanzines. One was called Are You Scared to Get Happy? The other one was called Kavach. So they knew about each other before actually meeting because they bought each other's fanzines. But then they met at a Julian Cope gig. Julian Cope and Primal Scream gig actually in the mid-80s. And decided between them to put a label together, which was Sarah Records. Sarah Records, they did put out albums, compilations and things like that, but what the label was known for, famously and infamously for, were the 7-inch singles that they released. They did 100 of them. Most of them were 7-inch singles. There was a couple of fanzines which they included as singles. There was a couple of flexi discs, and in one instance there was a board game. I think that was for Sarah 50. I think it was called Sarahpoly, but I've never played it. I've never seen it. So for this show, I've just picked out some of my favourites of the 100. And well, actually, it's technically 99. Sarah 100 was not quite what was expected, but I'll touch on that later on in the show. So the first song I'm going to come out with is the first one, Sarah 1, which is Pristine Christine by the Sea Urchins. what an absolute tune that is. Anorak City by Another Sunny Day. That's Sarah 3. That was actually a flexi disc. I love that song. That's one of my favourite Sarah songs, that, by a mile. I think it's a great song title, Anorak City. Sounds like it could be a band name or like a record label. And we all love an Anorak too. Lord knows I do. That was a flexi disc. So the idea was behind the flexi disc was that eventually it would wear out and you wouldn't be able to play it anymore. So the idea was you'd play it to death, sort of thing. But yeah, that's easy top 3, top 5, and Sarah record songs for me. Before that was Sarah 1, which was the Sea Urchins, Pristine Christine. That's a great way to start a label. I think it really sums up, well, for better or for worse, what the label was sort of seen as throughout its time. So the next song I'm coming up with is Sarah 9, which is My Secret Whale by the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn weren't seen really as a. Some people thought it wasn't really a Sarah band because they were a bit noisier, but Claire and Matt, who started the label, were big Mary Chain fans, and it's a bit noisier, a bit fuzzier, scuzzier, a bit like the noise pop of Jesus and Mary Chain. So they wanted their own sort of Mary Chain for Sarah Records, and that's why they picked them. It's also My Secret Whale is also the name of a very good Sarah Records documentary, which is what I watched and the reason why I've done this show, to be honest with you. You can get that rent it for £2 on the Sarah Records website. After that as well, there's another song called Underneath the Window, Underneath the Sink by the Orchids, which is Sarah 11. The Orchids are one of the few bands who actually stayed with Sarah Records for the duration of the label's time. And actually one of the few bands that are still going as well, to be honest with you. I've not really delved too deep with the Orchids yet. They are on the list, but I just haven't given them the time yet. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's like their best song, but because I'm sticking with the 7 inches on this particular show, it is one of their better releases, at least anyway. I don't know if you've heard of the podcast, the Vinyl Detroit podcast, but there's an over an hour long interview with the Orchids on that, which is also worth your time. So yeah, My Secret Whale first, and then after that, Underneath the Window, Underneath the Sink. I hope you enjoy.
It's my own secret world. When life gets rough, I escape far away from the city streets. No one's prevent attacks. Free of all restrictions, full of dreams and drugs. I'll be loved with my world and all its secrets. The perfect time to live. We could be there by nightfall, and by sunrise we could live on live. You right, stay forever, stay forever, stay forever, stay forever, stay forever. In my secret world, in my secret world, in my secret world. In my secret world, in my secret world, my secret world, in my secret world. made me heal at the things in you I see. So you came back inside, felt my pity, so decided to hide underneath my windowsill. I can see you and your spirit to kill. And all the time you had to rain fall in, why did you do that? You came on like an eyesore, and I painted it high. You just come and go underneath my windowsill. I can see you and your spirit to kill. All the time you had to fall in, why did you do that? And I came on like an eyesore, and it faded. All some kind of lie, and all the things you did up in my room, I just thought this all happening too
Right, so up next is easily my favourite Sarah Records band, the Field Mice, with a song called Emma's House. It was the first Field Mice release on Sarah Records. It's absolutely amazing as far as I'm concerned. I love the Field Mice. They are the definitive Sarah band. At one point I actually thought they kind of were Sarah. Before I kind of knew who formed Sarah Records, for some reason, I don't know why, I assumed Sarah Records and the Field Mice were the same people. I don't know why. I first heard about Sarah Records when the band The Drums came out about 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was. I remember reading interviews about with them, and they were raving about the Field Mice and how much of an influence they were, and I'd never heard of them. They're definitely the biggest. I'd say they're the biggest band, and personally I think they're the best band on Sarah Records. To be honest with you, I could do a podcast all about them. But anyway, this is Emma's House by the Field Mice.
Early morning by the harbour, the clouds above form one sheet that's grey. Early morning by the harbour, where you are, where you now are. You had nothing to live up to. You had nothing to live down. Emma's house is empty, so why do I call it Emma's house? 5 to 6, that's what the time is. through my shirt of cotton made. 5 to 6, that's what the time is. Where you are, where you now are, you have nothing to live up to. You have nothing to live down. Emma's house is empty. So why do I call it Emma's house? You have nothing to live down. Emma's house is empty. So why do I call it Emma's house?
Here is my advice to you. Think about all that you do. If you don't like what you see, you only have to tell me.
But I don't know what to do. Why should I listen to you? If you could see what I see, you wouldn't listen to me.
I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart. I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart.
But I don't know what to do. Why should I listen to you? If you could see what I see, you wouldn't listen to me.
I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart. I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart. And when the sun shines down, it shines upon our town. And everybody says, I want to, I want to.
But when the angels come round, they'll stamp us into the ground. So how can I say I wanna go somewhere to fly away?
I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart. I'm really so hard. I'm really so hard in your heart.
Crush the flowers, crush the flowers, crush the flowers, crush
That was Crush the Flowers by The Wake. Before that was Emma's House, the amazing Field Mice, Emma's House. The Wake, were actually on Factory Records in the early 80s. But I think there's a good argument against them not really being your typical Sarah band or sound, because I think there's a reputation Sarah have for being a bit twee and a bit wimpy and stuff like that. But I think that Wake song, Crush the Flowers, kind of puts that to bed. It's a bit more more electronic. One of the drums, I think it says it on the documentary. Actually, the guy from the drums reckons the New Order were always trying to be what the Wake were, but never quite got there. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I'm not sure if anyone else agrees with that, but yeah, they were a big fan of the Wake. They weren't your typical Sarah Records sounding band, but I think they're great. And there's other albums and other releases they've got on Sarah, which are actually probably better than Crush the Flowers, but yeah, check them out because I think they're brilliant. Next up, we've got Heavenly, the band Heavenly, with a song called I Fell in Love Last Night. Heavenly were formed out of the ashes of Tallulah Gosh, who I had heard of at some point, but I don't think I've ever really listened to. Same indie pop rock kind of sound, but they split up, and the lead singer, Amelia Fletcher, basically wanted to take charge of the songwriting, and basically went a bit more popular. They've got an album that came out. It was one of the last albums that Sarah Records released, called The Decline and Fall of Heavenly. And going on, like, one of the reviews from Melody Maker for that album, which makes me laugh, it just says 3 words: die, Heavenly, die. So next song you're going to hear is The Heavenly with I Fell in Love Last Night. And after that, there's another song called Clearer, but I'll touch on that more after the song is finished.
What? What are you saying?
I love you.
When you gave me all that you had, you told me there could never be another. All those times we both cried, I love you. How can you change and stay in your mind?
secret lovers, blood brothers, don't you give the game away. For all the pubs and all the clubs, there's still no love. Let me be, please, let me be free. This time, my time, it is getting clearer day by day. This time is my time, it is getting closer. It's my time, it is getting clearer day by day. This time is my time, it is getting oh so clear.
That was Clearer by Blue Boy. What a gorgeous song that is. It's the only Sarah Records release that contained a lyric sheet in the sleeve. Reason being, it's a very personal song from the singer Keith Girdler about gay rights, basically, because around the time the band formed, Section 28 had recently been passed, which is basically, believe it or not, a government ruling essentially making being openly gay illegal to a point that just boggles the mind. I'll read out Section 28. Like, I can't believe this. It says, a local authority shall not A, intentionally promote homosexuality or publish material with intention of promoting homosexuality, B, promote the teaching in any maintained school of the acceptability of homosexuality as a pretended family relationship. What the frig? Like, that is absolutely insane. But yeah, the song that was Clearer by Blue Boy, an amazing song. I just blew my mind when I read that for the first time. Next up, we've got, again, it's another Feel My song, because it's the last Feel My song that was released on the label. It's called Missing the Moon. The band released 3 albums in 89, 90, 91, and there was a compilation of like EPs and stuff in between all that. But the final single was Missing the Moon before they split up. I'm not quite sure why they split up. They just suddenly stopped getting on. But did reform later on as a different band, so I'm not sure what went on there. A bit of a change in sound, much less jingle jangle. It's more dance orientated, which it to be fair is scattered across a lot of the Feel My stuff. To be fair to it, it's produced by Ian Catt as well, who was in Saint Etienne, and I think they covered a Feel My song, but I don't know which Feel My song it was off the top of my head. And it's on Foxbase Alpha, the Saint Etienne song. That's a classic. So it's a great way to sign off this song for Feel My. But it also leaves you thinking sort of what could have been. bet that would have sounded absolutely amazing live. That was Love Blind by The Shine, which was Sarah 71. I was a little bit late to these. I only really discovered them sort of whilst getting ready to kind of make this show. It's right up, that's one of my favourite Sarah releases, without a doubt for me, without a doubt. It's very shoegazy, which I don't think there's a lot of shoegazy stuff in the Sarah catalogue, and it's obviously a bit more my thing, I think, with the shoegaze. It's off an EP called Greater Than God. They got a bit of stick, actually, from what I've read, for being basically My Bloody Valentine rip-offs, which I do sort of get if you do listen to some of the other stuff, but it's absolutely fine with me, to be honest with it. It's kind of difficult if you're in a shoegaze band to not be, to some degree, considered some sort of rip-off of My Bloody Valentine, but it is a bit of a fine line, but what can you say? It's definitely the song I've listened to the most in the last week or so when I've been making this podcast. Yeah, absolutely love it. Yet again as well, another great review from Stephen Wells from The Enemy reviewed that song as, and that's all he said, "This isn't music, it's cancer." No, like, really, that's what he said. Anyway, we've got a couple of more songs left now. So this next one is called Paris by Northern Picture House, which is on Sarah 94. They were formed from the ashes of the Field Mice. You can still hear a bit of the Field Mice sound in them. Obviously, they've got the singers, both vocalists in it. It's going to sound very similar, but it's a bit more abstract, a lot less jingly jangly. They had an EP and a couple of albums, but it was only 2 singles actually released on Sarah Records. It was this one, Paris, and another one called Last September's Farewell Kiss. So give this a listen. If you like it, delve deeper.
That's what I don't want to be. I've never really enjoyed it. Never been much good at it. And all I want is to get on.
Okay, so this is the last song I'm going to play for this show today. This is Sarah 99. Now, the reason I'm playing Sarah 99, because Sarah 99 was the last 7-inch released by the label. Sarah 100, as I mentioned earlier, wasn't what people were expecting. Sarah 100 was a retrospective compilation called There and Back Again Lane, and at the same time they took out a half-page ad in all the music papers to advertise a large gig of loads of Sarah bands on August 28, 1995, and also to announce that the label was ending on 100. The statement that they put out in the advertisement was called A Day for Destroying Things, which I'm going to read right before. So the last song I'm going to play, again, is one of my favourites, possibly my favourite Sarah Records release, which was Sarah 99, and it's called Dirty Mags by Blue Boy. Thanks for listening to this show. If you do like the show, like I say, I've only played the 7-inch singles. There's loads of album tracks and a load more of the 7 inches which I could have played. There's plenty. You could get a few shows out of this if Matt will let me. I'd love to do another show, maybe get Matt involved as well, see what happens. So if you do like this, by all means, subscribe to the Patreon if you can as well. Matt's doing wonders with the Patreon, and the more people sign up to it, the better. You will not be disappointed. So before I go, I'm going to read out this closing statement by Sarah Records. A day for destroying things, because when you're 19, didn't you ever want to create something beautiful and pure, just so that one day you could set it on fire and then watch the city light up as it burned? Didn't you want to do that every day of your life? Nothing should be forever. Bands should do one single and then split up. Fanzines finish after one flawless issue. Lovers leave in the rain at 5 a.m. and never be seen again. Habit and fear of change are the worst reasons for ever doing anything. Stopping a recording label after 100 perfect releases is the most gorgeous pop art statement ever, and says more about pop music than any 2-part digipack limited edition coloured vinyl 7-inch grimly authentic lo-fi 10-track EP or any other marketing gimmick ever will. Sarah Records is owned by no one but us, so it's ours to create and destroy how we want, and we don't do encores. We want to burn in bright colours and go pop, to be giddy, impulsive and silly, to kiss people in new places exquisitely and dare to tear things apart. The first act of revolution is destruction, and the first thing to destroy is the past. Scary. Like falling in love, it reminds us we're alive. Sarah Records, 1987 to 1995.